The big stories live right here on Plus TV Africa, and you're watching your favorite entertainment news program, Tea Time. And you know how we do it right here. We bring you all of the best bits in the world of entertainment. On today's episode, it's a fantastic lineup as we have all the news, all the views, and all of the in-depth interviews coming up your way. We have a studio guest as well who we will reveal later on in the program. But first, I'm Tokunbo Taiwo, and I'm here with my usual suspects. The one who radiates beauty beyond her fair complexion, Elsie Godwin, and the other one who radiates utopian schools of thought, Ife Oshunkeye. Hi, guys. Like your intro?
Yes, I do.
And you're looking very, very hot.
Thank you.
Okay, so what did you get up to last night?
Sleep.
Sleep? I thought you went for an event.
Oh, yes, I did. I had too many ice creams.
Really, at the event? It was an ice cream tasting event.
It was an ice cream tasting event.
And Ife, you went for an event as well.
Yes, the movie premiere of Heaven on My Mind, a joint feature film by Uche Jumbo and Iniedo, and that was really amazing. It's a star-studded movie. Yes, I didn't wait to see the movie though because work obviously. No, I didn't wait to see the movie, but I saw the trailer and then they gave a little spoiler here and there. At least everybody I spoke to.
And then it was like all of them came in, you know, en masse to like support.
Yes. We have people like Shafi Bello, Kate Henshaw, and a host of others that just came out to support, and it was really amazing.
The Yoruba Wood.
Yes. But another thing, one of the questions I kept asking everyone I spoke to yesterday was, in an industry where women are perceived to be competitive, right? That how do they feel about Iniedo and Uche Jumbo coming together to do this movie? And they all gave positive response. But a lot of them were like, no, we're not competitive and all of that. But I just felt, man, the shoe fits.
I think there is more collaboration in women in Nollywood
than
no, women generally in any industry.
A couple of them coming together to do a whole lot of this together. In Nollywood industry, they might have the personal competition in their mind that we don't know, but for the works they put out, they work together a lot.
But we don't get a lot of collaborations from them. Well, not an argument for today.
I was going to say, you guys have started the argument. And you know how it is right here on the show, never a dull moment. Now, I told you earlier on that we do have a studio guest, but before we introduce who that studio guest is, we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll introduce who she is. So stay right here on Plus TV Africa. You're watching Tea Time. We'll be right back. It's where the big stories live. This is Plus TV Africa.
When I did it, I was full on, hands-on on the whole project.
So how did you deal with it? All of that negativity?
I got depressed, obviously. Duh. Haven't you heard?
I've got two of the hottest topics currently trending on social media. If you've seen the word Senate trending on Twitter, that's because the Nigerian police force has gone Trump style.
I haven't shared this with anyone, but I reckon I get about like 100 people asking for help a day. That's a fact. I can prove that.
Hello and welcome once again to Tea Time right here on Plus TV Africa, and we're moving on in our conversation. Yes, and it's time to also introduce our studio guest. It's not the usual actor, actress, artist, singer and producer that we usually have here on the show, but she's an entertainment lawyer amongst the million and one things that she has to do for her firm. She's well versed in the intricacies of drafting technical entertainment and media contracts and launching a test case for defamation against one of Nigeria's foremost bloggers, with commercial knowledge stemming from experience working in the radio, film and television industry, and also writing for notable online platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the joysome, jubilant and the juicy-looking Georgette Monu.
Yo.
Juicy? What?
Juicy? I was like, I'm sure she's going to say something about that, but I'm going to put it anyway, because the last time we met, you were looking so, I don't even know, juicy looking, yes.
Oh, wow.
And what happened to the blonde you? And Seriously, you were like super duper fly.
Thank you. Well, no, the blonde hair had to go. It had been in for way too long.
So because now looking at you, I'm beginning to think, okay, there are two Georgies. One, one professional and the one that lets her hair down. True?
Very true.
Very true.
But trust me, the side that lets her hair down is my usual self every day. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, because I was expecting you to come in your, full
wig and gown.
I was like, this is way too serious for tea time.
I'm so sorry.
But I know first and foremost you're a lawyer, so yeah. All right, Ife has the first question.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yeah, my first question before we get all professional, yeah? Since there's a side of you that lets
We're
your
not
hair down.
professional
So
now.
tell us, where are you from?
Okay, do you want the short story or the long story?
Short.
Okay, short story. My mom's from Nigeria and my dad's from Benin Republic.
Oh.
Very short story.
Okay.
So do you speak French?
I do, fluently.
Oh, wow. So say a little something that,
In
will
French?
make you juicy sounding.
Oh God, I don't know about juicy sounding, but bonjour tout le monde, je m'appelle Georgette. Je suis tellement excitée pour être ici sur Plus TV Africa.
Oh my goodness, I need it. It's so hot right now. Good heavens, that was juicy sounding indeed.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Elsie.
Okay, entertainment law.
Yes.
Nigeria entertainment industry, we complain about not having the structure yet. So do you think that this is the right time for lawyers to focus on the industry and then own it?
Yeah.
Because I read an article where this same comparison was being made for oil and gas, saying the lawyers in that sector are not doing enough to own the industry. And then you have foreign counterparts coming in to make the money they're supposed to be making. So what do you see is happening in the entertainment industry right now? And do you think our lawyers are ready to take up the job?
I mean, I think to answer that question, I have to look at it from two different perspectives, right? So as a lawyer, the reason why I decide to focus on the entertainment industry is because I'm a creative as well. And there is a definite need to have lawyers through every single part of your process within your creation of whatever it is that you do, whether it's TV, whether it's film, whether it's, art, or whether it's even writing or publishing. And I find that Nigeria as an industry, because of how it started, because of how Nollywood started, because of how everything was really largely unstructured. It was very much based on, relying on friendships to be able to get what you need, whether it's costume design, a house for your film. To be shot in. The industry have never really looked at lawyers as a necessary tool. And I find that in recent years, especially with the different cases that we have coming up, especially in the music industry, Wizkid wanted to leave EME and Banky said, no, you have a contract, you have to adhere to the terms of your agreement, and they ended up having an amicable solution, G Worldwide and Kiss Daniel, Runtown and Eric Mani. So a lot of these different artists are starting to realize the importance of having a lawyer there, not just at the point of crisis, but at the very beginning. If you had a lawyer who was specially trained in the entertainment industry to be able to tailor your specialized contracts. For example, an oil and gas contract is not a typical contract. There are certain terms, there are certain regulations that guide that sector, that a lawyer who is trained in that industry would be able to tell you how to structure your agreements. The same thing with the entertainment industry.
So how do you manage the hunger to break, or how do you say, to blow, and then having the right contract?
I mean, I think first and foremost, you do need to find some form of legal advice or legal counsel. I think you need to take a step back because you're not just thinking about your now, you have to start thinking about your future. And a lot of the times we find that because of that hunger to blow, a lot of these artists, if I'm going into the music industry now, decide not to think about that. Their own is like, I have a contract, I want to sign this contract, I want to get my deal started. About 10, 15 years down the line, you start to realize when you want to leave your label that your name is not even yours. Yes. If you think of Kiss Daniel and Jill Worldwide, that was exactly the issue. And you want to leave your contract and you realize the name that you've built a brand over, you've built a reputation over, you have goodwill over, is no longer yours. It's actually your label's. So where do you start from there? You have to change your name, you have to change your brand, you have to change your image. And for an artist, that's a huge thing. I mean, imagine like someone like Lady Gaga changing her brand and her image. Although her brand and her image has changed over the years and that was done strategically. So imagine someone like that just waking up tomorrow realizing that she's no longer Lady Gaga, she no longer has monsters, she's now somebody else completely different. You have to start from scratch. And you wouldn't have had to do that if you had a lawyer in the beginning.
Yeah, so a lot of artists or creatives are ignorant about their entitlements when they sign a contract. What are some of these entitlements you can quickly shed some light on?
Where do I start from and which industry? If I start with the music space, if you're an artist and you're going into a recording contract, I think it's really important for you to have in your contract terms in relation to you having creative freedom. A lot of artists try to, don't realize the importance of that till they actually go in. You find that you have some labels that have complete control over your creative direction, how you look, the kind of music that you end up recording, the songs that are going to end up being picked, and all of that has a huge part to play in who you are, your creative expression, and that's so important as an artist. And you need to make sure your contract leaves that for you and only you to decide. And at the end of the day, whatever songs you end up recording, yourself and the label both decide which songs you want to put up in your album, as opposed to just the label deciding. Other things in relation to your image rights, so that's everything from your name, everything from your brand, anything that you can trademark. You have to make sure that that is owned by yourself. So, for example, Kiss Daniel's name is owned by him, Runtown's name is owned by him, things like that. What else for the music space? I would say also it's equally important to try as hard as possible to try and negotiate your royalty sharing formula. And that's tough because the record label usually has a lot more leverage than you do as an artist. But I would say that when it comes to checks and balances, accounting statements, the ability for you to be able to audit your the royalties that have actually been recouped by the label over the particular period of time. Make sure you have that provision in there. These are little things that you can do to try and protect yourself.
But one of the things that happens, because that all you said, is all fine and good, but imagine when someone is still an upcoming artist, and they just want to sign anything, just to be able to sort of get into the industry. How do you think they can actually go through the process of negotiating their way out of all of the pitfalls that you have mentioned so far?
They need to get a lawyer. And I'm not saying that because I'm a lawyer, but I think something that lawyers give artists and creatives generally is leverage, and it's power. And it's power because it's not you speaking. You have someone speaking on your behalf. And the record labels these days especially are starting to take lawyers more seriously. In fact, industry participants are starting to take lawyers more seriously. And that's where your question comes in when you spoke about how lawyers can start to be involved in the industry more and, take control of that industry. We can only take control of that industry if you allow us to. And I find that a lot of creatives, because of what has been happening recently, have opened up their minds to having lawyers being involved in the process, which wasn't something that happened beforehand. But having a lawyer in the very beginning is so important. Like, you cannot negate the amount of influence and power that gives you as an up-and-coming artist.
In as much as that sounds good, how affordable are entertainment lawyers?
Because they'll be thinking about the cost.
How affordable?
Because they're thinking, let's sign the contract, we'll get the money, and we can get a lawyer. But that would be like putting the cart before the horse. So in terms of affordability, really, how does it work?
I mean, I would look at it from two perspectives, right? The first perspective is that how much money do you have as a creative, right? And secondly, how much value do you place on the service you're about to have rendered to you? And the two of them go hand in hand. We have a lot of creatives who realize the value that lawyers play, but do not think that our role is so important so as to pay us a particular amount. The amount of years of training that we go through, the amount of day-to-day knowledge sharing that we go through, it means that your lawyer is a learned individual. And if you appreciate the fact that this individual is going to be able to help you to not enter into the pitfalls that we were speaking about earlier, and in the long term would be able to give you a contract that is fair and is balanced. If you think of it from that perspective, you would then see the need to put money beside or to having a lawyer, simply put.
So what if, now this is a case of you trying to make us understand that, this comes with cost because it doesn't come cheap. Now, I know it doesn't come cheap, I need your service, but I cannot afford it.
Now,
I mean,
now.
it depends.
Now.
Because,
Yeah.
I
Do you
mean,
do
I
pro
work
bono?
for-
I think that's what she's trying to ask.
I don't know about pro bono, everybody. I don't know about that. I mean, but I work for a law firm. I mean, Olanu Ajayi has been around for over 60 years. And what we've done is that we have, like I said, 13 partners and about 13 or 14 different practice areas. The entertainment, leisure and media practice has been around for quite some time. And what we do, because we understand the industry that we're operating in, is that we have flexible payment structures. So we can agree on a particular price that we feel allows us to be able to do the work within our own parameters internally, and you be able to get the work delivered to you, and you have flexible payment structures. But that's just how my law firm works. So you can spread your fee payments either over monthly payments, over quarterly payments, over 6-month installments, depending on what is best for you. If you're working in the film industry, for example, probably like quarterly or 6-month payments would be better for you because you're going to get money in from your investors, and at that point in time, you start to offset all your different line items.
So,
All right, so let's
advise everyone, you know, who is looking for a lawyer would be, you know, for them to go ahead and do the installmental payments if the lawyer is forthcoming. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
If they can't afford to pay initially. the full amount.
I would like to know the price of the
Initial
first installment. Yes,
Because
exactly.
I mean, 2 years ago, I was having this conversation with a law firm. I was supposed to be signed on to them, you know,
Okay.
so they would represent me whenever I need them. But that conversation stopped somewhere. So there is is it an onboarding fee where they even consider having a conversation with you? Then you now have the list and all that, then you pay, it's spread out. So how
I
does it
think-
work for your firm?
To be honest, I think it depends on the law firm. My law firm doesn't operate in that way. The way it works is that if you know that you need legal consultation, we'll have a discussion with you. We'd have a discussion with you either at our offices or somewhere that is convenient for you, and that is free of charge. We just have a general conversation, and we talk about what it is that you're looking to do, the kind of services that you would need, and we consider ourselves not just legal advisors. We consider ourselves commercial advisors. We're here to help your business, yourself as an individual, looking at all the different aspects and facets of who you are and where you want to go. And from then on, when we decide on, okay, we're having this first conversation, we move on to talking about fees. And yes, we'd have usually fees broken down as some money down from signing our engagement letter, and then the rest are all installments. But that is a two-way conversation that we have.
And it's all negotiable.
It's all negotiable.
Okay, so from what she was saying, I think she was saying something about having a retainer. Is that what it's called?
Yes, that is. I mean, retainers, I think, are more beneficial because you have the ability to have your legal advisors on hand 24/7. At least that's how we operate. You can call us at any time of the day and night. Trust me, I have clients that call me at midnight. And you have them at your beck and call. We don't have to discuss fees every time you call me. Every time we have a contract we need to deliver. And you can go into a contract drafting and legal advisory retainer. So we can say, okay, we'll draft 12 contracts for you within the year, and you have legal advisory services throughout the year as well, which means I can call you, you can call me, we can have a discussion. You want to sign an endorsement deal, you want to sign it with Guinness, for example, and I'm like, okay, Guinness is a good idea for X, Y, Z reason. I'm not saying that because Guinness is my client. Yes.
Okay, so you said something about the people in the industry have to allow lawyers take control. That if they don't, it's not going to be possible. My own concern
Sorry,
is...
Elsie, let me just quickly come in because we're still talking about this, and I just want for us to finish it, and then you can come in with, you know, it's just regarding, so let's take, for example, Elsie, you know, let's say she's an artist and she wants to, you know, get an entertainment lawyer. What sort of figures are we looking at? So that I can give people an idea, you know, of the sort of figures that they need to. Yes, it's not like I'm putting you on the spot. It's
Yes,
really,
you are.
No, just an estimate.
everybody.
You don't have to give the...
No, hold on. What I'm saying is that it doesn't have to be what your firm, but at least you would give us an idea of what the industry as a whole, maybe entertainment lawyers generally, what potential clients can expect to pay, because at the end of the day, it gives them an idea.
To be honest, I cannot even put a figure to that. I can't even put a figure to that because I need to understand what the exact terms of the engagement will be. We can only cost depending on the scope of work. So I can't
Let's do a
give
very basic rundown, a basic hypothetical rundown. She's an artist, she's upcoming, emerging, she has good
Oh no,
image
let's put
and
it this
want to-
way. She's an artist, I'm a record label owner, I'm giving her a contract, and then she needs a lawyer to come and review the contract.
The contract.
How much would
Yeah,
that
perfect.
just for the review of the contract.
Yeah, what sort of figure are we looking at?
It really depends. I really do not want to put a figure to this just because, I mean, there's so many different variants. I would say, like, depending on the lawyer you go to, it can be anything from 100,000, for example, to 750 to 800,000. It depends on the law firm that you're going to or the lawyer you're going to. The thing is, that's why I would advise that for the higher end lawyers, or those that cost, in the upward brackets of like 500 and above, it would be wiser for you to go into a retainership with them. Because then they can decide that, okay, I will decide to pay you, rather you decide to pay us for a year, certain amounts of contracts that we can review and draft for you during that year period. So it depends. I mean, I have some clients, for example, that are really, really busy and, have label clients that have, 4 different artists. They have endorsement agreements, performance agreements, merchandising deals that are going through their label every single day. For someone like that, it makes more sense to have a retainer than it is to have a contract by contract basis.
Okay, all right, Georgie, thank you very much. Elsie.
You stopped her question.
I did stop her question. I hope she hasn't forgotten her train of thought. But I wanted to thank you though, because we had to milk it out.
Oh my gosh.
She knows so much about the 500 and above bracket, so I think she's in that space.
I don't know what you're talking about. Just call me.
So when you try to find out how many entertainment lawyers we have in Nigeria, probably the information is not out there, but we have few of them. And if you're going to own the industry, then we need more hands. If I need a lawyer, for example, an entertainment lawyer, if I cannot afford you and you're the only option, it means I just have to rely on my friend if I to look at the contract, and we decide on our own because we cannot afford the only option. And when there are no options, of course, the price is just there. So what are your learned colleagues doing to encourage people coming out right now? I mean, people going into the music industry, the law section of it, to embrace entertainment law, because right now it's very important. So are there any programs encouraging them to take this segment,
this area of law seriously? I mean, for me personally, the way I see the entertainment industry, I can only say that if you want to go into this specialized industry, it cannot be because you are looking for money or you're looking for ways to associate yourself with celebrities. It has to be a passion-filled job. And I say that because I'm a creative as well. So when I'm advising my clients, I'm not advising you just as a lawyer. I'm advising you because I have been in the industry. I understand how the day-to-day operations and dealings of the industry work, right? And so you need that kind of technical knowledge in order to be able to advise your client. So for me, I wouldn't want a random flurry of entertainment lawyers coming into the industry just because. You'll find that a lot of clients especially come to us with a lot of skepticism because they've been to too many lawyers that parade themselves as entertainment lawyers but yet know nothing about the industry. You have somebody who is a producer and a director and they're coming to you to review a production, distribution and financing agreement. Probably you've never seen one before. Probably you don't even know the inner workings of what that contract actually is supposed to stipulate. And so for a client perspective, you're frustrating them because you're parading yourself as something that you're not. So for me personally, I think that if you are somebody who is really interested in the creative industry, you're interested in being a stakeholder in that industry, and you want to do that by way of providing legal services, please come. The industry is ready for you. We have so many lawyers that are currently coming into the industry that are interested, but are interested for the wrong reasons. And we have lawyers that are coming in that are specially trained and specially skilled for that business. And that's fantastic. Now, for someone like you just said, who is coming in and you're looking for the right lawyer, I would say to you that there are a range of different lawyers you can go to. But you can never take away the value added of having somebody who is specially trained for you. So if you're going to look at it from a value-added perspective and you believe this person can add value to you, then let's come to the table, let's talk. There's always a way we can sort out fees. The way my firm works is that we do not allow money to come in between ourselves and our clients. That's how we operate. And that's because we have a clear passion for the industry that we operate in.
Okay, all right, Georgie, let me quickly ask.
Oh,
Oh my God.
I would have loved. Wait, can I just ask this?
Yes,
Are
sure.
you saying I have to be a creative or passion about creative to be successful as an entertainment lawyer? Because if you check the people that are successful in that field, you have Audume Kuri, you have Dolapo Kukoyi, they all went through being a producer, being interested in music, model, you know, they have that background. So are you saying you have to embrace the background first, work yourself up, then bring in your passion for being an entertainment lawyer?
Yes and no, but I'll say it like this. If you're going to advise somebody who is an artist, for example, and you've never had any interrelations with labels or with artists in the past, you don't have people that you have spoken to see what their real life experience has been, then it becomes a bit difficult for you to be able to advise, looking at it from their own lens. So your client would have to feed you a lot of the information, which is very frustrating as a client, as opposed to me just delivering the service.
I need
We're
to.
running up.
I need clarity on this particular question.
We're running out of
So
time.
what is
And
the
you'll have to be
difference?
brief because
I'm
Ife is
sure
going to
that's
kill
fine.
me if he doesn't ask his question.
All right, so what's the difference? A lot of artists are confused about copyright infringement and intellectual property theft. So what's the difference between the both of them?
They're both one and the same, I would say. So your copyright is under the Copyright Act, that is, there's so many different rights that are protected. Your literary work, your musical work, your artist diagrams, for example. There are a range of different rights that are protected under the Copyright Act. Now, if somebody takes any piece of your work that is owned by you and decides to produce it, disseminate it, share it without your permission, that's copyright infringement. Intellectual property theft speaks more towards trademark infringement and passing off. So in that instance, we're talking about the fact that you have a mark that has been registered at the Trademarks Registry here in Nigeria. Somebody has taken your trademark and has publicized it in different mediums.
All right. Unfortunately, that's where we're going to call it a day. We're out of time. That's all we've got time for on this episode of the program. Join us this afternoon for yet another interesting episode. Until then, a big thank you to my co-anchors, Ife and Elsie, the all-inclusive production team, our stylist, courtesy Kudis Empire, and last but not certainly least, our studio guest, Georgette Monu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Tokunbo Tyra saying thanks for watching, and from all of us here, have yourself a good morning.